for a moment I was gonna say like, okay, iCarly, so we're live in 3, 2, but nah, you added too much to the tail.
I have done that a couple of times though.
Shit. Gotta pay respect,
bro. You have to. It's built in, bro. I used to watch that shit every day.
I just saw a clip the other day where it was from the new iCarly, and Freddie was like, it was something for Carly's birthday, and Freddie was like, "Oh my god, I can't believe you would do this," and she was like, "Yeah, like, aren't they great?" The typical like kind of Nickelodeon exchange like that. And he was like, "No, you recreated the worst day of my life," and she was like,
"I saw that clip."
Freddie, I'm sorry, but I did not string you along.
You kissed me. And then a month later, you laughed at the idea of us being a couple.
Yeah.
And
I was like, he kind of...
He's spitting.
A little bit.
Carly led him on. Like, she hella led him on.
Now, granted, I feel like he definitely could have got a clue way sooner.
I know, but he wanted her so bad. So
he was over there tongue kissing Sam.
Because he thought he would never get Carly.
Later, and that was after she went to a mental hospital.
Yeah, a lot did happen. I do kind of feel like that was a little forced. I'm not gonna lie.
The time they did kiss was because she. What was the reason that they kissed? Because they both didn't kiss anybody.
Freddie and Sam.
Yeah, that does sound about right.
But what drove them to that point? Because
they were outside. Because
was it Valentine's Day?
They had really got into it because Sam had fucked with him like real bad.
Yep.
And she pissed him off. So like he was like on some shit almost like Josh was doing Drake.
I don't want anything to do with you anymore.
So what, are you gonna move out?
No. This is a house where I live, and I guess we'll be roommates until the day I leave for college, but that's all we'll be, is roommates.
Let me tell you something.
I'm done with you.
Oh my gosh, when what was the bellhop's name? With the mole, or no, the wart.
Lubert.
Yeah, Lubert.
Almost said boom.
Remember when he started dating Freddie's mom?
Oh no.
Oh yes, I do.
Yeah, she fell for him too. Wasn't it because he covered the wart or something? Like he had it hidden, or someone had cut it off, or something.
Okay, I don't want to talk about this no way.
My
First of all, she over here distracted me because she freaking jumped down and knocked down the thing, and I'm just like,
freaking it.
What thing got knocked
and then she over here zoomies like shit.
She always got the zoomies. You know who else got the zoomies? These white people trying to tell us systemic racism is not real. Cause they're definitely off the zoinkies, my nigga. Like I don't know where y'all been. I don't know which Earth they on. Like Earth 367, but nigga here on Earth 1, that shit is alive and well, brother.
I'm gonna give you some real good points for the transition.
Like, I'll give you that. Zoinks would be the right term to describe these niggas.
It's just the right amount of nonsensicalness.
Nice.
But also, like, it gets the point across.
Some of them might just be, like, ignorant. Like, they just don't know. Like, I'm talking about, like, they don't know no black people. They don't, like, look up that stuff. Like, they have no reason to even believe that this exists.
Well, no, sorry, go ahead.
Even then, you ask them, like, are they racist? And they start coming up with a list of why they're not racist. I think that's, like, the first red flag to me. And it's like, I think we're missing the plot a lot of the time.
Is it like a flag, or is it like a little, like, you at the football?
Yeah, it's like
flag on the football.
Wait. It's like, wait a minute, like, something ain't right. Because if you have to prove you're not racist, like, I don't know.
It's like Drake defending himself as not being a pedophile. It's like, if this is where you at, I think you
like, I think you at a loss, sir. Like,
especially when that list starts with, like, I got plenty of black friends. Like,
yeah,
that's your favorite one, bro.
My daughter's boyfriend is black. Oh,
but do you like him coming over?
Do you let him sit on the couch?
All right.
Have you shook his hand yet? Do you plan on shaking his hand? Well, at least we're not still in the times where the second one was, I voted for Obama. At least we out of there, because that was aggravating.
I feel like we're only out of there because Obama's no longer in office, though. I feel like if Obama was still a running president, that would still very much be getting thrown around.
You're right. I feel that. It's ignorant to say that systemic racism doesn't exist. I think that's ignorant. However, when they try to explain it, I think it shows that they don't even really know what it is. Because when they defend the fact that it doesn't exist, one of the first things they always say is, so you're telling me that there's laws that that say that black people, is like, you don't even understand what it is. Because obviously, no, there's nothing in the fucking law that says like black people gotta be broke. But the way that they enforce the laws and the way that they kind of work the behind the scenes rules and regulations where we predominantly are, that's how this shit works. It's how they used to say like banks wouldn't give loans to these certain areas because they were predominantly black. But they used the whole like, oh, they can't afford it. They won't be able to pay for it in this area. Like they used that. It's that subtle racist shit. Because they couldn't call us N-words no more. So they had to find code words to dog whistle with. So I feel like there's a lot of white people that would say that systemic racism doesn't exist that may not be racist, but they're just ignorant. They don't understand.
I remember seeing this clip not too long ago. I can't remember the speaker's name, but she was essentially going on to a lecture where she was asking a crowd of students, I believe, they looked to be about students at some sort of university, and she asked them, would anybody here, and I believe she either had them raise their hand or have them stand up, and she asked them to do whatever command and said, do X, Y, or Z if you would switch your race to black now.
Jane
and not
Elliott?
a single person.
Was she white?
Yes.
Yeah.
Jane Elliott?
Yes. Yes. Okay, so perfect. You know exactly what I'm talking about then. Great.
If you, as a white person, would be happy to receive the same treatment that our black citizens do in this society, please stand. Nobody's standing here. That says very plainly that you know what's happening. You know you don't want it for you. I want to know why you're so willing to accept it or to allow it to happen for others.
Is it really ignorance? Because I feel like being ignorant to something, like, yes, you don't have the knowledge of it. It's like, it's not stupid because you don't know. But at the same time, I also feel like, is it included when you're trying not to know?
In a different sense, I feel like.
I mean, it's an ingredient in the gumbo of evil. So there's like willful ignorance, and then there's just like plain old ignorant stupid, and then there's like misinformation, and then there's like blatantly like lying. Like people just lie for no good reason.
Because there are people that, you know, that are genuinely ignorant, like
they don't know.
Your friend, I'm not gonna oust her, but your friend, when she didn't know what Juneteenth was, I was taken aback, but I had to like simmer myself because I'm like, why would she even have any reason to know that? You know what I'm saying? I feel like in school. I feel like Trump and Vance, they be playing pretend. They be trying to act like they don't know what's going on and act like nothing they say has consequence. So when they go up there talking about some Haitians be eating the pets and dogs and cats.
They're eating the dogs, the people that came in. They're eating the cats. They're eating the pets of the people that live there.
And then when you ask them, don't you think like violent stuff is going to start happening, which has already started. And then they be like, oh, I'm just, what you mean? I just, they play and pretend.
That's not nothing new. I mean, think back to the storm of the Capitol when what did he say? What was the Proud Boys stand tall?
Yeah, he said that at the debate. And he said, Proud Boys stand back and stand by.
Yes, thank you. It's like you say very specific things in a very specific way. These are to everybody warning signs. Flags are going up. Like, did he just say that? Because we all kind of know what that sounds like. And then you want to pretend like, oh, I didn't mean anything by it. Or you can't fake the funk saying things with the pure essence of knowing what that could sound like. You You know, like it doesn't.
And that's what I be telling him. Like, you can't fake being genuine. Like,
can you not?
You can try, but somebody's gonna know.
Yeah,
you're gonna slip.
You can definitely try.
The mask is gonna slip at some point, and somebody's gonna notice.
Yeah, you're right.
Especially if you come across somebody who is genuine.
Mm-hmm. And as soon as they peep, it's over. As soon as they get the yapping, it's over. It's a game at this point, and I feel like he's playing a very dangerous and sick game at this point. Because there's no way you can just say peacefully and patriotically and go, like you said, on January 6th and go destroy the Capitol building. Mm-hmm. That doesn't make any sense. So
that part.
We know what's going on. We know what's real. We know what's fake. And that's all I gotta say.
Do y'all feel like systemic racism negatively affects you?
It affects
your day-to-day life.
It affects everybody that's not benefiting from the system, which is rich white men. And that's just that is what it is. Just because you're not black, if you got a bit of color, you one of us, brother. Ancestors.
But what about those that don't want to be?
Well, listen, you gonna come to your awakening at some point, you know. But
she did on the Breakfast Club. In West Philadelphia, born and raised.
On the playground is where I spend most of my days. Chilling out, maxing, relaxing, all cool and all, shooting some b-ball outside of the school. When a couple of guys, they were up to no good.
I mean, she was on beat. She's still black. It's just,
what you listen to?
She's so Mayo with it.
She is very vanilla.
Like, it's so...
Very Mayo? I think that's the first I've heard that one.
Because it's not even vanilla, because I like vanilla. Eminem is vanilla, okay? She like, mayo. Okay, I'm eating, like eating a mayo, like eating a mayo.
Of course not. like I need
just
it with
like,
something.
okay, like, just like the texture of it, like, just, I'm eating mayonnaise. Like, versus you just putting a spoonful full of vanilla in your mouth. It's like, okay, at least I get something out of this. You putting a spoonful of mayonnaise in your mouth? What are you getting?
You know, actually, in the UK, they do use mayo as a condiment. Like,
okay,
I've seen people use mayo as their dipping sauce for fries.
You know what they put on French fries in Holland instead of ketchup? What? Mayonnaise. I seen them do it, man. They fucking drown them in that shit. Yeah.
I can understand that, but again, that's a French. That's food. I'm talking about you a spoon. Like you eat it.
I understand. Well, do you feel like systemic racism affects you in your day to day?
I feel like I definitely will agree with what you said. I feel like the system is made, or I guess curated at this point, in a way to where even if it's not blatantly felt, it's like I look at you, you look at me, we both know what's going on, which is actually the case, unfortunately. But I kind of feel as if it has a range, right? You have people who definitely are on the lower end. It's visible. You can see this with your eyes. But then you have the top end where it kind of not transitions out, but it's not as impactful as the lower end. I feel like for me personally, especially with the kind of life I live, I guess surroundings I was given growing up, it's not as blatantly visible, but it's something I know is there. I can see it with family members. I can see it with people who I've grown up with. I see it just with people who I attend school with. You know, you have these conversations, you know it. I feel I'm very aware of it, but I don't feel I feel it as blatantly as I know it can be felt.
I think both of you actually took it where I was going to take it next, is that even if it doesn't directly affect an individual, I feel like you said, and like you not genuinely, but what's the word? Generally. Thank you, Jesus. Like you were generally saying at the end, I think because we know it's affecting other people, it hits us different when we see it. Whereas like a white person completely separate, or anybody not black, just completely separated from it, watching people struggle like in the hood, they're just gonna look at it and say, oh damn, it's us that they're struggling. With us, I think it hits harder because we kind of know why. It's because they're in a place that is mostly poor, and the schools don't get the funding, and the cops are constantly patrolling, and people feel like they have to sell drugs to get by,
ends meet,
or steal, and their fathers are going to jail, moms are raising kids alone with like 2 jobs, can't be at home with the kids are traumatized by that. They grow up feeling like they don't have anybody to talk to, they didn't get the nurturing from the parents, and then they pass on that trauma to everybody they're around and the bad decisions they make.
And lather and rinse and repeat.
I feel like we're getting better at being able to like explain it, you know?
I feel that 100%. Because I think like we're getting better at being sure of ourselves and like coming into different environments as ourselves and being like, listen, okay, I exist. Okay. It's a lot of maneuvering and it's a lot of like understanding and balancing within it all. And I just feel like we're getting closer and closer.
I feel like something that definitely could be contributing to that is we have people in their spaces. Like, for example, I know for me growing up, I was kind of more on the quote unquote wide end of things when it came to like the music I was able to listen to, the shows I was able. I didn't watch Nick or Disney until I was 10. Or excuse me, not Disney, Cartoon Network. I started with Disney and it kind of pushed there until I kind of snuck here. What? I miss all of Drake and Josh. Like, yeah, I caught reruns, of course.
Oh, so you've seen it?
Yeah. I've seen episodes. I know enough to know about Drake and Josh. We have black people growing up in more of, I guess, their framing. It's an assimilation thing that's going back as long as, we have foreigners over and trying to just make it in whatever we have at the time here in America. But with us having individuals in those spaces, they kind of know how to talk their talk. So they know how to translate it a bit better so that they can understand, It's just like, okay, well, now unfortunately in the black community, although something we do see is if you're a little too far out the cookie cutter, you kind of get, but with those,
we're getting better with that.
I feel like we are actually getting a lot better with that. Even down to my grandpa. I was just having a talk with him on Sunday, because we were over there for the game. At one point in time, my grandpa was a little homophobic. I ain't even gonna lie. But he's an electrician, so he goes into like people's houses to fix issues and problems and blah, blah, blah. And he was saying like through his exposure to it, through his job, it kind of altered his perspective to the point where now he's like, well, shit, you're a person, I'm a person, you like what you like, I like what I like, keep your shit over there, I'm gonna keep my stuff over here, and we can call it even.
Yeah.
And just to have witnessed that mind shift, it's getting better. Little by little, bit by bit, but it's getting better.
But it was hard when it wasn't better. Because like I remember the time where it was not cool to be a nerd yet.
No.
And especially in the black community.
No, just being slightly weird.
Yeah.
Like you had to be like everybody else.
I told you I literally, because I didn't like get along with the black kids where I was going to school in 6th grade. So like I would talk to the white kids because like they was into Yu-Gi-Oh and they was into Total Drama Island and the other stuff I like. And a black dude literally came up, sat next to me and asked me, why do you be hanging out with these white people? And I'm in the 6th grade. Like, I'm not even thinking about it like that. I'm like, what are you talking about?
Well, you expected like a profound answer from you? Like, whoa.
I'm like, I don't know. They just cool. Like, I don't know. Like, do you want to hang out? Like, I'm a kid. So it's like, I say that to say like, this problem is bigger than something being on paper. And that's what I mean when I say they don't understand what it is. Because it's like, it's not something that's written down. It's something that's been passed down by words and actions and stereotypes.
Beliefs. Yeah.
So,
indoctrination.
And it starts young. Nobody's born racist. Like, race isn't even really a thing, to be honest. Like,
well, we got the human one, you know.
Yeah, we got the human race. That's it. Exactly.
Like, all of this talk about race, it's the problem. Like, I don't know. I don't feel like y'all even ready to address human problems. Like, y'all so worried about like other stuff.
Because there's nothing wrong with us having our races defined in its general sense.
In its general sense, but when you recognize why certain races exist, that's when you get a question mark. That's when you get an exclamation point. Like, it's not something that we should just forget about. Okay, I'm gonna get back to the focus on part. Forget about, because they're trying to change what it means. Like, it's like they keep saying that it doesn't exist, like it shouldn't exist. We all, content of the character, whatever. They always want to like try to push it to the side when it comes to like, oh, there's no laws about Black people being persecuted. We got rid of slavery. What more do y'all want? Type shit. It's like, well, no, we need to remember why race was an actual problem for y'all. Like, why did y'all treat Black people like that in the past? And y'all don't want to acknowledge it. So we need to focus on it, because it's like, we need to focus on why race even became a thing, even a talking point. Why do y'all ask us our race on job applications? Why do y'all ask us our race when we're doing the SAT? Like, all of these things are being, calculated in data and all of this stuff, and y'all use it for what?
It's just to survey the community and the pulse of the country. But no, like, for real, because it's like,
I understand what you're saying, but what are you surveying it for? What are you using the data for?
It's because we have to today, because of what's happened to races.
And what have they done to fix it, even though they've had the data for so long?
Well, that's where it comes in, where we are actively trying to get more people into the spaces to be able to change it for us. That's what
that's a whole different conversation in itself.
Again, why is the system even so broken that we need to prop up the right people? Why are they aren't all the right people?
Because the white folks was racist. And the white folks wanted some cheap. I'm talking about when this got started. Like, I'm talking about when they ramped it up. Like, the white folks mainly wanted cheap labor. And they came up with the race thing to use as that thing to divide themselves, to put themselves on the pedestal and make themselves seem like they were the, top of the cream of the crop. You know what I'm saying? So, like, they just used the race thing. I honestly believe that the people that really started this shit, they probably didn't even feel that strongly against darker people. They probably just saw it as, we want to enslave people so we don't have to do all the hard work. And this is what we going to use.
They saw them as servants, as the help.
So that's what they used it as.
Sure.
But eventually it turned into this white supremacy thing. I think racism kind of evolved at that point.
Yeah, because they realized what their power could really get them if they used cheap labor.
And it's that separation. So you got kids growing up and they're just like, oh, I'm white, I stay here, and they're Black, they stay outside. Like, they're animals. They're objects. Like, they grow up thinking and believing that I am at the top because I'm white. I guess my final question is just that, do you think we'll ever be able to not eliminate it, but suppress it enough that it's not in our top 5 issues that we have to deal with?
Well, that depends on the people. And it's like, you can't change people. People change people.
Yeah.
Like, you can try to influence them and try to, do what you can to help, but they're the ones that have to actually do it.
They have
make
to
that
accept
action.
that for themselves.
Right. So it's only gonna change if people want it to change.
people gonna be racist at this point. Like, it's not gonna stop in our lifetime or the generations after us. Like, that's just not our fight. But, you know, I think if we can find a way to just keep it from organizing and keep it from getting into powerful positions, then I consider that at least a war won for now.
I kind of feel like as long as we have differences, there's going to be something that can be said about those differences. That's kind of like the bittersweet point.
There's always going to be a divider.
Yeah. If there's an us, there's a them, you know. Or I guess the other way around is there as well. If there's a them, there's an us. But even still, I don't think, and you even already edited the question yourself, I don't think racism will ever cease to exist. However, I definitely do feel like people could get to a point where they kind of leave it at the, I could say something, but doesn't shit need to be done? You know, you can kind of leave it as just talk, I guess. At the very least, at that point, I hate to say everyone's happy because talk can do enough damage in itself, but I feel like it would still be steps in the right direction, especially since as time has progressed, and this is what I was going to say earlier, as time has progressed, the idea of what racism is has kind of grown and shifted and adapted. It's more fluid now more than ever. And with that, I feel comfortable enough saying that we have definitely gotten better, but it in itself has also changed. So there are new things now that we're finding that kind of like fall under the umbrella, and there are old things that are starting to kind of die off from it. It is changing. It's getting better, but it's changing. So I don't know if that's after like a period.
I feel that because it's like
Wait, what was she doing?
she was scratching.
Oh, okay.
It's changing because we're getting a better understanding and we're getting a better grasp of what it means, and like we're getting a better understanding and making it more tangible. Just putting ownership of what it means and like taking control of it and just like accepting what it means now. And like there's been a lot of like pushback, I feel like, once people come to accept who they are. And like you can apply that to literally anything, but just specifically talking about race, it's like, I don't know, once there's a time where we all just kind of come together and we're just like, this is what it is, there's always that, no, it's not. There's always that, like you said, it's like, it's going to be us and they're going to be them. Like, there's always going to be an antagonist, if that makes sense. Difference. Yeah. The yin and the yang. Like, there's always going to be that the other side of the other side. Yeah.
And I think we're learning which buttons to push when we hear certain types of it, because it's like we used to be like really bad with pulling the fire alarm every time somebody just had a smoke. Not saying that them having a smoke is a good thing, it's just we don't need the fire alarm for everything. So it's like, you know, if somebody just said something that sounded a little racist but sounded like a joke, I don't think we need to waste the fire alarms on that as much as we need to focus on the politicians that be dog whistling. You know what I'm saying? And we need to call that shit out, because it's that shit that causes the organization. Whereas these jokes, I think it's okay to just check somebody on them, just on some shit like, hey bro, don't say shit like that.
Because I feel like we got a lot of in Drake's words, fake activists. Yeah. I feel like people be out here just lying for no good reason, and I feel like they be kind of faking it sometimes. Because I feel like this is gonna sound contradictory, because it's like at certain times in life, I feel like you have to kind of pretend or kind of fake it in order to like fully understand like how it is you want to be. I understand forcing yourself out of your comfort zone in order to like fully understand another perspective. But I feel like some people be saying certain things that kind of put us, how am I trying to put this?
Take your time, preacher.
Deep breaths.
We ain't going nowhere, preacher.
Some people be out here trying to fake being genuine, like we were talking about. And I feel like it be leading us astray a lot of the time. Like, we be putting our energy into demonizing the wrong people and not getting the right people. That's actually the problem. And we be ignoring the signs. We be ignoring the sirens. And it be because we be listening to the fake activists and with the fake influencers and all these people that just have a platform and talk shows and all of these things that enhance their voice, and they're just leading us astray, leading us off a cliff.
I think All Lives Matter was to be ignored. And I think we gave that way too much energy because we know it's stupid and it means nothing. Like, it's just a rebuttal. That's it. And I feel like every time they started getting mad about it and being like, no, because yes, we know all lives matter, but the black lives, I'm just like, we need to stay focused. Because this is a waste of the energy, bro. It's a distraction.
Yeah, I was literally thinking it sounds very smoke and
like,
mirrors.
y'all putting us through the loop-de-loop. Like, we're done. Cut it.
They know what Black Lives Matter mean, bro. They be pretending.
They know.
Just like that nigga, and this was a black dude too. Just like that dude when Buddy was trying to give an example and was saying, you know how people have, you know how like there's like white names and black names. And he's just like, what is a white name?
For example, if you send out a resume and you make one name a white name and the other name the classic.
What's the white name?
The white name was John, for example, right?
I know Black John.
Okay, no, hear me out.
Stop.
You know what the fuck a white name is, bro. Stop. Like,
Just
stop with the rigmarole. Like, let's stay focused, man. I don't get too mad at my brothers and sisters because I understand you get like sick of this shit. And you want to call it out.
You get sick of talking about the same thing over and over and over and over again. I mean, it's insanity by definition. You don't want to be like going crazy over this shit for the rest of your life.
It's
like,
exhausting.
Living the same life over and over again, hoping for something different when we keep doing the same things.
That's about all I had. If y'all had any final thoughts, just that. I guess my final like little period on mine would just be that systemic racism is very real and it's still affecting people. And I think when certain people, including other black people, they do this too. So it's like when they try to say that systemic racism doesn't exist, I think the first thing we should ask is, what do you think systemic racism is? And then when they give the wrong answer, because they, believe me, they will, we correct them. And we show them like, this is what it is. You see what people go through and you see the similarities and you see the different tactics that are used by the politicians to cause that hurt. Right. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like you working backwards. You got to hustle backwards a little bit. This is what's happening and this is why it's happening. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I feel you on that. I mean, it's right there in the name. Systemic system, it's a system. And in a lot of cases, if the system wasn't made with you in mind, you're not going to see it. Think of like in shows where you have the one character who's in whatever super secret spy organization or whatever. Before that, never would have known. Shoot, I could even spin it to the Matrix. Never would have known. And then you kind of see it, and now you see how it impacts this level over here, this grouping over there, this entity here. Like, it's one of those things where it's not for you to see. You have to go see it.
You have to go out and search and look for it. But almost like unintentionally.
Yeah, not all the time. People just stumble into it sometimes.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Because it's like, I don't know, you just kind of have to go with the flow. Some
people just need some time. I'm sure there's been plenty of white people where it was the 8th or 9th George Floyd in a row in like a 5-month period, and they finally was like,
didn't we just do this?
The last one was black, right? And the one, he was black, right? Like, you know, they slow to it. So it's like, I think a lot of them are savable. We have to be careful not to waste time trying to save the ones that have no intention on being saved.
Okay,
like,
cool.
And a little bit of what you said, like it's changing and we're getting better at being able to define it and recognize it and call out the BS when we see the BS and we smell the BS, you know. We're getting better at, you know, discernment. And I'm happy for us.
Don't keep it a ton.
Keep it a what?
Keep it 3,000.
We out of here, y'all.
Peace.
Peace.